Hello there, you're now with me, Hendy Gui, and welcome to your 5 p.m. English News on TVS. Let's dive into today's topics. The National Disaster Risk Reduction Policy being formulated by the National Disaster Management Agency, or NADMA, can strengthen management and intensify the nation's disaster risk preparedness. Prime Minister Datuk Seri Ismail Sabri Yaakob said, apart from improving the understanding of disaster risk, the policy could also help increase investment in disaster risk reduction initiatives in terms of human resource capacity, institutional empowerment, expansion of mitigation measures, and technology applications. Commenting further, Ismail Sabri said the NRR was a good effort towards making Malaysian families aware of disaster management being undertaken in the country, the types of existing disasters, and follow-up actions that could be used as a reference. Apart from that, the document can also be used for the purpose of planning and mapping studies, monitoring, early forecasting systems, prevention, mitigation, and risk reduction strategies. Minister in the Prime Minister's Department for Economy, Datuk Seri Mustafa Mohamad, said Malaysia must seize digital transformation opportunities as they are not only critical for Malaysia's economic recovery efforts, but they also enhance the country's future economic resilience. Additionally, digital transformation can potentially create up to 257.2 billion ringgit in annual economic value in Malaysia by 2030.
During this challenging period, Malaysians have shown remarkable resilience as we evolve, adapt and pivot with the changing situation brought about by the pandemic. We have seen how the digital economy and technologies are crucial in helping businesses stay afloat, allowing students to continue learning, job seekers to continue upskilling through online courses, and families to stay connected.
Mustafa said Malaysia remains committed to its target of becoming a technologically advanced, digitally driven nation and the regional digital economy leader by 2030, as set out under the My Digital initiative. Through the initiative, the digital economy is expected to contribute 22.6% to Malaysia's gross domestic product by 2025 and create 500,000 new jobs.
Businesses, there will be more opportunities to build and expand with digital revenue streams to increase cost efficiency through cloud technology.
In an effort to improve community safety and build a community free from danger and threats, the Malaysian Fire and Rescue Department took a rather different approach by collaborating with the local communities. Malaysia Fire and Rescue Director General Datuk Seri Mohammed Hamdan Haji Wahid said the approach was made as some villages are inaccessible or far from the fire station.
Only thing unique about Sarawak is the uniqueness in terms of topography and also geography. Because we have 36 fire stations, we cannot cover each and every inch of the state. But however, we are working together with the volunteer services. We are working with the community through our community empowerment. Supaya apabila kita mendayakan community lagi lebih berwaspada. Keduanya boleh melaksanakan apa-apa persediaan pencegahan. Ketiganya mereka juga boleh menjadi first responder sebelum bomba nak sampai, because in some part of the states is very far from the service of fire and rescue department. Our fire station was probably located about 40 and 50 or 60 kilometers away from the village. So kita tubuhkan pasukan bomber community di tempat-tempat tersebut supaya mereka ini akan menjadi mata dan telinga kepada kerajaan dan juga agensi kecemasan. Sebelum emergency service coming, they actually already have respond.
Hamdan added, JBPM will form a mountain cave search and rescue team called Moksar and appoint local rangers and tourist guides as the Bombas Auxiliary Fire Officer.
Esok kita akan pergi ke kawasan Mulu, penubuhan Moksar, Mountain and Cave Search and Rescue, MOCSAR, actually Mountain, Cave, Search and Rescue. We appoint the local tourist guide there as our bomber auxiliary fire officer, where we pay them the allowance and so on. They are specialized in these terrains. They know the habitat very well. If bomba datang pun need the guide to show dia punya environments and also all those terrains. But since they already become the master of that terrains, we provide them training. We certify them. We provide them the PPE, personal protective equipment, and also we provide some basic equipment to handle any kind of incident, and they can also become the firefighters. In time things to happen there, they will turn themselves to become rescuers. So this will at least mitigate at earlier stage. And bomber need time to come over that side.
Meanwhile, the Fire and Rescue Department, or BOMBA, will establish a special water and rescue team, or SWAT, in Sarawak as part of its campaign to address death caused by drowning, of which Sarawak is a major contributor to the statistics in the country.
That is why we also forming what we call as a special water rescue team, SWAT, SWART. And that one is already a success story in East Coast, in Semenanjung, in the area of Kedah and also Terengganu. Since Sarawak, we have a lot of water body, river, lakes, sea, and even the whatever irrigation system. So we will also focus in Sarawak. But Sarawak will be very new. We are looking at the hotspot because like flood area and also drowning, we have hotspot and we have we call it high risk spot and medium risk spot. High risk spot means, according to United Nations, 5 deaths at the same area within 2 or 3 years. That means the frequency of drowning in that area is very high. So that is where we identify as a hotspot of high risk. The medium is less than 5, but more than 2. Cases of death. It's not matter of drowning, it's death. For Bomba, we recorded around 450 to 500 deaths per year because of drowning. That is because Bomba respond. There are some cases Bomba didn't respond because it's already been rescued or recovered by the villagers or by other agencies, and it is not within our data. So our data alone is about 4 to 5 times of a victim in fire. So it's a very serious.
Hamdan added, Bomba is in the midst of identifying hotspots for drowning in the state before establishing SWAT.
And Sarawak contribute one of the big data there, of the statistic there.
The whole Malaysia.
In the whole Malaysia. So they have quite a number of hotspots. Sarawak, they have rivers, like I mentioned. There are a lot of water bodies, and these water bodies are quite high risk, especially to school children, especially to those who are mungkin warga mas. We identified the hotspot. When they go for recreational activities, for instance for picnics and also for some of the leisure they're doing, the hotspots seldom cost them much. So there are spots that we never identified. That is where the drowning to happen, because people like to go away from the crowd. Because if PD, Port Dickson, this is the hotspot. Memang pantai cantik, memang ramai orang datang. Tetapi some of them, they would go to the most isolated, exotic one, nobody knows. That is where they have some quicksand, for instance. They have a very stiff churun, and they are very dangerous undercurrent wave that can simply suck them. So that's happened quite a number. That is why we say when you do your patrolling, going to the hotspot, make sure you don't avoid the soft spot. Because sometimes the soft spot is also a place where people like to do their water activities.
Setakat suku ketiga tahun 2021, Kerajaan Sarawak telah mengutip hasil pendapatan sebanyak RM5.833 bilion. Kebanyakannya datang daripada sumber-sumber berikut: cukai jualan negeri RM2.395 bilion, pampasan tunai bagi hak-hak minyak dan gas RM1.287 bilion, dividen RM720 juta, faedah dan pulangan daripada pelaburan RM325 juta, pembayaran balik dan geran persekutuan RM235 juta, risit perhutanan RM223 juta, premium tanah RM212 juta, pampasan tunai bagi duti import dan duti excise ke atas produk petroleum RM120 juta, royalti air mentah RM145 juta, sumber lain seperti royalti pelombongan, jualan air dan sewa tanah RM171 juta.
Welcome back. Malaysia has registered a total 6,210 new COVID-19 cases detected in the last 24 hours. This takes the total number of infections to 2,413,592 since the start of the pandemic. Meanwhile, a total of 94.2% or 22,047,448 of the adult population in Malaysia has completed the COVID-19 vaccination as of yesterday, October 20th. Based on the Health Ministry's data on the COVID Now portal, 97.3% of the adult population, or 22,775,864 individuals, have received at least one dose of the vaccine. On Wednesday, a total of 256,497 doses of the vaccine were dispensed, involving both the adult and the adolescent populations. This brings the total number of doses administered under the National COVID-19 Immunization Program PICK since February 24th to 48,437,608. As for teenagers aged 12 to 17 years, a total of 1,218,000 individuals, or 38.7% of them, have completed the vaccination, while 79.7% or 23,509,535 others have received at least the first dose of the vaccine since the PICK program for the group was launched on September 8. The United States is contributing an additional $800,000 in COVID-19 assistance to Malaysia this month to help the country's efforts in vaccinating hard-to-reach and vulnerable communities. According to a statement by the U.S. Embassy in Kuala Lumpur on Thursday, the assistance will also be used to support safe quarantine facilities for these communities, besides assisting in the protection of Malaysia from the virus and help to keep Malaysia's economic recovery moving forward. The embassy said the Malaysian Red Crescent Society, MRCS, will be implementing the assistance in Malaysia. It added that U.S. Ambassador to Malaysia Brian D. McFetus, in a meeting with MRCS National Chairperson and Tunku Temenggung Kedah Tan Sri Tunku Putri Intan Safinas Almarhum Sultan Abdul Halim Muazzam Shah, and its Secretary General Hakim Hamzah, thanked the organization for its ongoing work to support Malaysia's effort against COVID-19. This additional assistance builds on more than $2 million in COVID-19 assistance from the United States to Malaysia since the pandemic first began. On July 5th, the U.S. donated 1 million Pfizer vaccine to Malaysia and also donated medical supplies, COVID-19 test kits, ambulances, and more. The U.S. Embassy expressed that the United States is committed to partnering with Malaysia to end the COVID-19 pandemic, mitigate its devastating social and economic impacts, and build back a world that is even better prepared for future outbreaks. And that concludes the 5 p.m. English news on TVS. As usual, don't forget to tune in for the Nightline at 11:30 p.m. with Cheryl Shaminato. With that, I'm Hendy Gui. Stay safe and have a pleasant day.